After my recent long trail through hike, the question I got asked most often was, what was your favorite part? It's hard to pick just one, so I am going to give you my top three moments on the long trail. These were moments that reminded me of why I would put my body through all of that. And they typically came after a period of hardship of some sort, making the moment that much more appreciated. The first moment happened while hiking the ridge on Mount Mansfield. I knew that I would get some sort of view up there, but I had no idea that it was going to be that gorgeous. You could see views on both sides. It was a beautiful, clear day after I'd gotten days and days of rain and just hardship, and I wasn't looking forward to the climb of Mount Mansfield. I was worried about it. I thought it was going to be really hard, and I'd hiked down from Mount Madonna the day before, and I just couldn't imagine climbing another mountain after that, because that took so much out of me. And then Sean had picked me up and we'd gone and stayed in Stowe for the night. And I came to this hike and I was refreshed, and it was just so cool. People met me and hiked it with me, and it was just such a cool and memorable experience. Looking back at the entire trail, I would say that that is still my favorite stretch of trail on the entire hike. I loved a lot of the trail, but I just can't compare anything to hiking on that ridge. My next favorite moment happened on day 14. I was hiking with Michelle and Jeff, and we'd been hiking through the rain for quite some time, and morale was low. The day before was probably my low point on the trail. And then all of a sudden, things started looking up. We exited the Bread Loaf Wilderness, and I got service back. And then we came upon this Blue Blaze Trail to Lake Pleiad, and we decided we were going to stop there for lunch. And as we got there, the sun came out, and we took off our wet socks and we dried them on the rocks. I went swimming, and the water was gorgeous and clear, and it felt beautiful. And we had lunch on the rocks, and it was just such a perfect morale boost. I felt so replenished after that. And I didn't even care that we had more miles to hike that day, because it just gave me a renewed vigor to my step and made me start to really look up and appreciate the hike, because it was the first time in a while something good had happened to really just make it all worthwhile. The third moment happened the day that I left Manchester Center, and I had a huge debacle with my package and my resupply, and I was disappointed. I'd gotten such a late start to the day when I'd wanted to really make big miles that day, and I ended up camping at Stratton Pond. And I'd set up my camp, and then I walked down to the pond right before the sunset. I'd brought a beer that I'd hiked from Manchester, and I was able to drink it while I watched the sunset. And the only other person that was there was the caretaker, and he was like this really cool, like chill, quiet dude, and just the two of us just sitting there watching the sunset. It was just perfect the way it was. And the significance to that moment, I think, is that if I hadn't had that bad experience with my package, I wouldn't have gotten that experience, because I would have probably made more miles that day and pushed to a further shelter. But because I stayed there, I got to experience that beautiful sunset. So I don't think that I would go back in time and change anything. And this was one of the moments that they talk about that you just always remember, and you love it so much and you want to tell everybody, like, make sure that you don't skip this, like, do this thing. And everybody's experience is going to be different. If you hike the same trail, you might have a crappy experience at Stratton Pond and a really beautiful experience somewhere else that maybe I didn't have, or maybe I didn't even stop there. And I think that's one of the things that's just so truly magical about the long trail and through hikes really in general, because no two hikes are going to be exactly the same, even though you're walking the same trail. The trail conditions, the weather, the people you're with, everything can shift and change and just make it into something different. Even your mindset about everything can have an effect. So keep that in mind if you're planning a through hike of this long trail, that different people can tell you different things. Don't miss this, don't forget to do that. But really, you just need to hike your own hike, and those moments are going to happen wherever you end up. So don't stress too much about every little detail and just get out there and enjoy it. If you have any more questions about the long trail or the gear used or anything related to hiking, backpacking, and through hike, please let me know. I like making these videos and I'm hoping to take you on some more adventures in the future. Thank you for watching and happy trails.